الزهراء. لك يا مولاتي نشأت كلماتي يا وسيلتنا وشفيعتنا فاطم الزهراء. يا وسيلتنا وشفيعتنا فاطم الزهراء. فاطم الزهراء. نورها قمری شفیع روز.
هنگامه شادی شده لطف خدا دادی شده شهر مدینه غرق نور از طلعت هادی شده پر از شادی زمین و آسمانه گل زهرا به دامان سمانه مادر امام هادی گل زهرا به دامان سمانه بریزید گل به پایش که جده اطهر صاحب زمانه که جده اطهر صاحب زمانه هنگامه شادی شده لطف خدا دادی شده شهر مدینه غرق نور طلعت هادی شده هنگامه لطف خدا دادی شده شهر مدینه غرق نور طلعت هادی از شادی زمین و آسمانه گل زهرا به دامان سمانه بریزید گل به پایش که جده اطهر صاحب زمانه که جده اطهر یه بار دیگه هنگامه شادی شده لطف خدا دادی شده شهر مدینه غرق نور از طلعت هادی هنگامه لطف خدا دادی شهر مدینه غرق نور طلعت پر از شادی زمین و پر از شادی زمین و آسمانه گل زهرا به دامان سمانه بریزید گل به پایش که جده اطهر صاحب زمانه که جده اطهر علی چهارمه آل عبا آمده است علی چهارمه آل عبا آمده است پسر گل پسر امام رضا آمده است پسر گل پسر به تجلی دهمین شمع هدا آمده است به خدا آینه جود و سخا آمده است به خدا جود و سخا از هنگامه شادی شده لطف خدا شهر مدینه غرق نور از طلعت هادی شده یه بار دیگه هنگامه ماشاءالله لطف خدا دادی شادی شده، لطف خدا دادی شده، شهر مدینه غرق نور، از طلعت هادی شده، پر از شادی زمین و آسمانه، گل زهرا به دامان سمانه، مادر امام هادی، گل زهرا به دامان سمانه، بریزید گل بریزید گل به پایش، که جد اطهر صاحب زمانه، که جد اطهر صاحب زمانه، هنگامه شادی شده، لطف خدا دادی شده، شهر مدینه غرق نور، طلعت هادی شده، هنگامه لطف خدا دادی شده، شهر مدینه غرق نور، طلعت هادی.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قل الحمد لله وسلام على عباده الذين اصطفى. الله خير عما يشركون. أمن خلق السماوات والأرض وأنزل لكم من السماء ماء وأنزل لكم من السماء ماء فأنبتنا به حدائق ذات بهجة فأنبتنا به حدائق ذات بهجة ما كان لكم أن تنبتوا شجرها أإله مع الله أإله مع الله بل هم قوم يعدلون. أمن جعل الأرض قرارا وجعل خلالها أنهارا وجعل لها رواسي وجعل بين البحرين حاجزا أإله مع الله أإله مع الله بل أكثرهم لا يعلمون. أمن يجيب المضطر إذا دعاه ويكشف السوء ويجعلكم خلفاء الأرض أإله مع الله أإله مع الله قليلا ما تذكرون أمن يهديكم في ظلمات البر والبحر ومن يرسل الرياح بشرا بين يدي رحمته أإله مع الله أإله مع الله تعالى الله عما يشركون أمن يبدأ الخلق ثم يعيده ومن يرزقكم من السماء والأرض أإله مع الله أإله مع الله قل هاتوا برهانكم إن كنتم صادقين قل لا يعلم من في السماوات والأرض الغيب إلا الله وما يشعرون أيان يبعثون صدق الله العلي العظيم.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. السلام عليك يا أمين الله في أرضه وحجته على عباده. السلام عليك يا أمير المؤمنين. أشهد أنك جاهدت في الله حق جهاده وعملت بكتابه واتبعت سنن نبيه صلى الله عليه وآله حتى دعاك الله إلى جواره فقبضك إليه باختياره والزم أعداءك الحجة مع ما لك من الحجج البالغة على جميع خلقه. اللهم فاجعل نفسي مطمئنة بقدرك راضية بقضائك مولعة بذكرك ودعائك محبة لصفة أوليائك محبوبة في أرضك وسمائك صابرة على نزول بلائك شاكرة لفضائل نعمائك ذاكرة لثواب غالائك مشتاقة إلى فرحة لقائك متزودة التقوى ليوم جزائك مستنة بسنن أوليائك مفارقة الأخلاق أعدائك مشغولة عن الدنيا بحمدك وثنائك. اللهم إن قلوب المخبتين إليك والها وسبل الراغبين إليك شارعا وعلام القاصدين إليك واضحا وافئدة العارفين منك فازعة واصوات الداعين إليك صاعدا وابواب الإجابة لهم مفتحة ودعوة من ناجاك مستجابة وتوبة من أناب إليك مقبولة وعبرة من بكى من خوفك مرحومة والإغاثة لمن استغاث بك موجودة والإعانة لمن استعان بك مبذولة وعداتك لعبادك منجزة وزلل من استقالك مغالة وأعمال العاملين لديك محفوظة وارزاقك إلى الخلائق من لدنك نازلة وعوائد المزيد إليهم واصلة وذنوب المستغفرين مغفورة وحوائج خلقك عندك مغفية وجوائز السائلين عندك موفرة وعوائد المزيد متواترة وموائد المستطعمين معدة ومناهل الدماء مترعة اللهم فاستجب دعائي واقبل ثنائي واجمع بيني وبين أوليائي بحق محمد وعلي وفاطمة والحسن والحسين إنك ولي نعمائي ومنتهى مناي وغاية رجائي في منقلبي ومثواي أنت إلهي وسيدي ومولاي اغفر لأوليائنا وكف عنا أعداءنا واشغلهم عن أذانا وأظهر كلمة الحق واجعلها العليا وأدحث كلمة الباطل واجعلها السفلى إنك على كل شيء قدير.
در جهان خوشبان هادی مولا امام هادی مولا امام هادی مولا امام هادی در جهان خوشبان هادی مولا امام هادی مولا امام هادی مولا امام هادی
دهمین امامی و مولای مایی یا هادی سیدی و آقای مایی به خدا تو دین ما دنیای مایی در جهان سرمایه و سودای مایی در جهان سرمایه و سودای مایی از کرامت شافع فردای مایی تو صاحب جنت الاعلای مایی جد مهدی و نور دیده جوادی شافع روز معادی مولا امام هادی مولا امام هادی مولا امام هادی
در جهان خوشبان هادی مولا امام هادی مولا امام هادی مولا امام هادی در جهان خوشبا نهادی مولا امام هادی مولا امام هادی مولا امام هادی
ماه تمام و علی چارم آمد در سجودش مهر و ماه و انجم آمد خاک کویش قبلگاه مردم آمد لعل غنچه با تو در تبسم آمد لعل غنچه با تو در تبسم آمد هدهد جان از تو در تکلم آمد مرغ دلها با تو در ترنم آمد عالم را گرفته شور و شوق و شادی فرزند باب المرادی مولا امام هادی مولا امام هادی مولا امام هادی
در جهان خوشبا نهادی مولا امام هادی مولا امام هادی مولا امام هادی در جهان خوشبا نهادی مولا امام هادی مولا امام هادی مولا امام هادی
جان فاطمه ای گل باغ حیدر ای گل گلزار اسمت پیمبر ای که فراتی و زمزمی و کوثر در کرامت از همه جهان فراتر در کرامت از همه جهان فراتر در جهان مولا و سیدی و سرور دور خورشید تو گشت ماه و اختر بر همه عالم تو قبله مرادی حاجت عالم تو دادی مولا امام هادی مولا امام هادی مولا امام هادی
مولا امام هادی مولا امام هادی مولا امام هادی در جهان خوشبا نهادی مولا امام هادی مولا امام هادی مولا
هنگامه شادی شده لطف خدا دادی شده شهر مدینه غرق نور از طلعت هادی شده پر از شادی زمین و آسمانه گل زهرا به دامان سمانه مادر امام هادی بریزید گل بریزید گل به پایش که جد اطهر صاحب زمانه که جد اطهر صاحب زمانه هنگامه شادی شده لطف خدا دادی شده شهر مدینه غرق نور طلعت هادی شد هنگامه لطف خدا دادی شده شهر مدینه غرق نور طلعت هادی از شادی زمین و آسمانه گل زهرا به دامان سمانه بریزید گل به پایش که جد اطهر صاحب زمانه علی سره گل به سره به تجلی دهمی شمع هدا آمده است به خدا آینه جود و سخا آمده است به خدا آینه جود و سخا زهرا نسب حیدر سرش گهوار اشرش که بهش زهرا نسب حیدر سرش گهوار اشرش که بهش خدا مرا در لوح عشق سرگشته هادی نوشت خدا مرا در لوح عشق سرگشته هادی نوشت به ذکر آیه های من یکادم گدای خنده باب المرادم گواهی میدهد هر قطر خونم که مجنون علی ابن الجوادم که مجنون علی ابن الجوادم که مجنون علی ابن الجوادم.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم الحمد لله الذي لا بداية له والدائم الذي لا نفاد له والأول الذي لا أول لأوليته والآخر الذي لا مؤخر لآخريته ثم الصلاة والسلام على خير خلقه وحبيبه حافظ سره ومبلغ رسالاته حبيب إله العالمين أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد صلى الله عليه وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين المكرمين سيما بقية الله في السماوات والأراضين. قال الله تبارك وتعالى في القرآن الكريم وقول الحق وهو أصدق الصادقين إنا هديناه السبيل إما شاكرا وإما كفورا صدق الله العلي العظيم. Respected brothers and sisters, Salamun alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Congratulations on the beginning of month of Rajab, a sacred month that is an opportunity for all those who are seeking a path of redemption and preparation for the coming of the greatest month of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which is Ramadan. These 3 consecutive months of Rajab, Sha'ban, and Ramadan are the spring of believers. That mu'mineen and those who are devout individuals, they are taking advantage of every moment and every day of this blessed month. Congratulations, and also occasions of the month of Rajab. On the first day, which was today, is the anniversary of the birth of our 5th Imam, Imam Muhammad al-Baqir alayhi salam. And also tomorrow, 2nd of month of Rajab, is anniversary of the birth and wiladat of our 10th Imam, Imam Ali al-Naqi al-Hadi alayhi salam. Congratulations to all of you and to the Imam of our time. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guide us toward the straight path, protect us from deviance and misguidance, and grant us a knowledge that is beneficial for our world of this dunya and akhirah, inshallah. There are some, we can call them invocations, recommendation of the month of Rajab, which are very, very simple to do. The first is that if we can't fast in Rajab, fasting in this blessed month is highly recommended. And it has been said that a lot of our great scholars, when they had the chance to fast, they would, even if it was possible, they would fast most of the days of the month of Rajab. So for those that they are looking for a chance of a spiritual revival, a spiritual transformation. Fasting in month of Rajab is a good opportunity, especially when it comes to 13th, 14th, and 15th of this month, which are coming, which are known as Ayyam al-Bidh, or the days of light, which every month, even Ramadan has those days, but in Rajab also is recommended to fast. Giving charity and sadaqah always is recommended, but don't forget about giving charity, especially with this pandemic going on. There are people in need. There are people who lost their job or other life event took place that they are now in need of your support. So don't forget about reaching out to them and doing your best to be generous and charitable at this time is also recommended for the month of Rajab. Saying simple things like dhikr of astaghfirullah rabbi wa atubu ilayh, istighfar, seeking Allah for forgiveness and returning to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with saying 70 times is very, very simply achievable. We can do it while driving or even while we are doing something in the house. Let's say if you're cleaning the house, you're doing some normal chores, you can say 70 times astaghfirullah. It doesn't take that much time. And also you were able to receive one element of the blessing of Rajab. And also the dhikr of La ilaha illallah is recommended in this month and overall all the time to remind ourselves that the ultimate power in the universe is Allah, that there is no power beyond Him, there is no God except Him, and is a zikr that you can say it even without anyone noticing because it doesn't require your lips to move. So you can say La ilaha illallah without your lips moving. So it's a dhikr that kind of helps with avoiding maybe riyah or it's seeking attention or glorification of others. So these are some of them, and also simple du'as of this month. Ya man arjuhu li kulli khair, a very short du'a that is recommended to recite after your wajib prayers. So inshallah be able to benefit from these spiritual opportunities of this blessed month, inshallah. But this month, alhamdulillah, is filled with so many happy and blessed occasions, from the wiladat of our two Imam in the first 2 days. And then we have the wiladat of the commander of the faithful, Imam Ali, on the 13th of this month. And then on the 27th of this month, 27th of Rajab, we have beginning of prophetic mission and mab'ath of the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wa alihi wasallam. So I said this to become a bit more familiar with some of the occasions of this month. There are some anniversary of the Shahada and martyrdom as well. For example, the 3rd of this month, 3rd of Rajab, is anniversary of the Shahada of Imam Hadi alayhi salam. And also we have the Shahada of Imam Musa al-Kadhim alayhi salam also in this month. So this was a bit of kind of chronological events taking place in the month of Rajab. So now that we have this opportunity to learn something from the life of Imam al-Hadi alayhi salam, let's take advantage of this opportunity and learn about a bit. Again, I did that with Imam Modarres last night, but my lecture was in Farsi. But because tomorrow is the wiladat of Imam Hadi alayhi salam, I chose to talk a bit about the life of our 10th Imam. But because Imam Baqir alayhi salam's wilada was today, we can also talk a bit about him and learn something about his life. Imam Baqir alayhi salam was born in the year 57th after Hijrah, and it means that on the day of Ashura and in Karbala he was 4 years old, and he lived during a time of a transfer of power from one oppressive regime, an oppressive dynasty, Bani Umayyah, to another one, which were Bani Abbas. And that was that provided an opportunity for the Imam, this distraction of them dealing with the struggle over power, to educate the students and start this movement of educating people, training the students, that each of them becomes leaders and at the same time source of knowledge for the rest of the Muslim Ummah. And Imam Sadiq alayhi salam continued the legacy of his father, and we have in tradition at one time up to 5,000, 6,000 students were learning from Imam Sadiq alayhi salam. So about Imam al-Hadi alayhi salam, what has been said that he was born in the year 212 after Hijrah, which he was born in Medina, and he lived during the time of vicious Abbasi caliphs, one after another. It had been said that Imam alayhi salam lived with almost 7 different caliphs, that each of them, one was worse than the other. But they had one thing in common, and that was they were looking for a way to suppress any connection between the Imam and people. And that's why Imam Hadi alayhi salam, he was living in Medina, but he was forced to relocate and basically move to Samira in Iraq and leave his hometown and leave his relatives and family back in Medina and go to Samira, which was an army camp where he was under constant surveillance. So what we can learn about the life of Imam al-Hadi alayhi salam, again, his name is Ali. His title, one of his titles is Hadi, the one, basically the one who guides, and also Naqi, which refers to the one that is cleansed, the one who's purified. So these are 2 of his titles. That he also have the title of Alim, Amin, Tayyib, which are all part of, kind of reflection of his personality. So what is important to learn from the life of Imam al-Hadi alayhi salam is Imam is dealing with caliphs that one is worse than the other in the sense that they are ignorant and they are thirsty for power. They're envious of Imams because of people's attraction to them and honor and respect that the Imams of Ahlul Bayt had among people. And that was something that it kind of bothered them a lot, and that was the reason they were looking for a way to somehow first assassinate their character if it's possible, try to spread rumors, and try to somehow put them in situations that they want them, or at least they thought that the Imam would fail, or they will physically assassinate them. And that was the case because the first one always would fail, because the Imams and their belief and Iman and faith as an Imam, as a divine leader, was in a level of infallibility. So they were not able to find any kind of flaw to pinpoint or to convince people that these people are not flawless as you think they are. They always fail. And a famous example of that is when a woman claimed to be Hazrat Zainab at the time of Imam Hadi alayhi salam. Again, this is all these caliphs in their time trying to do character assassination. So this woman was claiming that she is Hazrat Zainab, and that somehow is a miracle that she survived till that time. This is 140 years, almost 150 years after Karbala, and she's still alive. And she said that's a miracle. So she was, of course, lying. She was an imposter. But the Abbasi Caliph tried to take advantage of this opportunity, and they came to Imam Hadi alayhi salam and told him, there's an imposter. What should we do with it? And Imam alayhi salam said, she's not telling the truth. She's not saying, she's an imposter. And the Ahlul Bayt and the family of Fatimah Zahra, one thing for sure is that, the Ahlul Bayt their flesh is forbidden for wild animals. It means that no wild animal will attack one of the household of Imam Ali and Fatima Zahra, one of their children, including Hazrat Zainab. So the Abbasi Caliph chose that as an opportunity and said, okay, if that's the case, let's put that to test. And so what they did, they invited people, and then they created this big cage. They brought some wild animals, some predators such as lions, and they said, okay, to this woman, that if you're saying the truth, this is what Imam al-Hadi is saying. So let's prove if you're truly you are truly daughter of Fatima Zahra and Ali alayhi salam. So as the woman saw the animals, she confessed that she is lying and said, okay, I did it because I wanted some fame and I wanted to take advantage of this and people's belief to make some money. But the Abbasi Caliph said, okay, so forget about this. Let's ask Imam Hadi to walk into the cage and prove it to people that because he is one of the Ahlul Bayt and he's the Imam, and let's see if what he's saying is actually true. So we have that Imam Hadi alayhi salam actually walked in, and as he walked in, by the power of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and that by divine power, the animals, they were calm, and at the same time they came forward and they showed humility before the Imam's feet rather than attacking the Imam. And Imam started kindly and gently petting them. So, and of course, Abbasi Caliph's plot failed, and he literally ordered for people to be scattered. And, this story was narrated, and it kind of backfired to the Abbasi Caliphs. So, for example, if you want to know what kind of people Imam dealt with, and it is important for us to learn something from it as well. Imam alayhi salam, for example, one of the people, the first caliph that Imam lived during his time was al-Mu'tasim. Mu'tasim is the son of Harun al-Rashid, the one who is the killer of Imam Musa ibn Ja'far. He's the one who ordered the killing of our seventh Imam. His brother Ma'mun is the killer of Imam Rida alayhi salam, the grandfather of Imam Hadi. And now he is living in the time of Imam Hadi, and he is the one who also, Mu'tasim is the one who killed Imam Jawad, Imam Muhammad al-Taghi alayhi salam. So our 10th Imam was living at the time of such personality, the killer of our 9th Imam, the Imam's father, and also his family are also killers of the forefathers of Imam Hadi alayhi salam. So it's been said, for example, by Jalaluddin Suyuti, is an Ahlul Sunnah scholar. He has a book called Tarikh al-Khulafa, History of the Caliphs, and is almost a 500 years old book. And when he described this Khalifa that lived during the time of Imam Hadi, he said he was a man who was illiterate. He had no knowledge, and he despised knowledge. He hated it. So learning from him was something despicable, and he was not someone who would appreciate knowledge to begin with. So this is a type of personality. Second, it's been said that if he would get angry and he would get upset, he wouldn't care who's in front of him. And if he get upset, nobody was safe from being murdered by him because of his anger. He had a short temper. This is a personality that Imam is living during his time. And having people who are looking to make a quick buck did not help the case either, because we have that there were people who literally were spying and even fabricating lies about the Imams of Ahlul Bayt in order to, as I said, make some money. And in order to do that, they would go to the Caliph and said, oh, do you know this is what Ali al-Naqi is doing. You know that he's plotting against you, and they make lies. And because of such people, they decided to move Imam Hadi alayhi salam from Medina to Samira to be more under surveillance and control. So we have this person who was responsible, the one who basically spied on the Imam, and as well he created lies and fabricated lies about Imam al-Hadi alayhi salam. When Imam was leaving Medina and he was preparing for his journey to Samira, he came forward and without any shame, he said, I was the one who did this to you. And I'm going to tell you that if you try to do anything against me, I know your family and friends, and I will do worse than what I've done to you. So instead of being remorseful, instead of being apologetic, or at least regretting, he's threatening Imam alayhi salam. And so basically, he tried to attack before, being in a defensive position. That be careful, don't do anything about me, don't complain about what I've done to you, to anyone, otherwise I will do worse to people that your friends or your family. And the only thing Imam Hadi alayhi salam said, no, I'm not going to complain about you to anyone. I did complain about you to the greatest power. I complain about you to Allah, not to this Khalifa, not to some powerful friends or family. No, I did complain to Allah. And that statement kind of affected him. He started to tremble that what I have done. So all he said, by the way, he didn't say, I'm going to go and take back what I said. I'm not going to retract my statement. None of that. He said, would you forgive me? This is not someone who asking for forgiveness and apologizing. That is, they actually did something to fix the problem they caused. No. He just felt bad after Imam said he complained to Allah about what he's done. And he asked, would you forgive me? And Imam was on his horse leaving the city. So means the damage is already done. The damage is already done. So Imam is leaving Medina because of people like him and because of his lies. And Imam said, Afautu, I did forgive you. These are the individuals that we are recognizing as the leaders after the Prophet ﷺ. That their personality has that resemblance of the character of the Prophet. This is something for us to learn. When we don't let go, when it's too difficult to forget, when in marriage, my brothers and sisters, let me be clear. There are a lot of workshops about marriage. There's a lot of workshops about, how to maintain a healthy relationship. But one thing you should understand, if there are small things in life, you're going to hold on to them and you're not ready to forgive. I'm talking about a small thing. Oh, this is what you told me. This is what you said to me. Oh, you first called them, not me. Or these small things, when sometimes I talk to people, I'm not saying that they're not important, but even if they are important, not being able to forgive is an issue. That's why we end up having a lot of separation and unfortunately the rate of divorce among our community. This is my observation. I don't know the exact number, but my observation is that the number of separations and the number of the divorce rate is increasing. And there is actually, if you're looking for numbers and a statistic, it's been, the studies showed that since this pandemic, the number of divorce cases start to skyrocket, start to increase. And one thing that people say, is because before people were not in close proximity of each other all the time. They were going to work. So basically they had a break from each other. And right now, when they're all the time together, they cannot tolerate each other. They start clashing, which is a bit normal because you're too different, because you did not get that time to become more familiar with one another. But at the same time, is that individualistic mentality that I want everything my way. I'm not ready to let go. It should be the way I want, and everything annoys me quickly. So Imam Hadi alayhi salam is someone dealing with someone who's, as I said, an enemy, and is capable of letting go, forgiving. If you want the mercy of Allah, if you want, when we say astaghfirullah rabbi wa atubu ilayh, ya Allah forgive me, and I don't have to do anything, actually going deeper and showing some form of remorse in our repentance and tawbah. If you want that quick forgiveness, don't wait for people to beg. Don't wait for people to fall on our feet to forgive them either. Allah is more generous than we can imagine. So Allah said, look at my creation, look at my abd. This abd of mine, this servant of mine is so generous, so forgiving, that he's ready to that quickly say, I forgive you. I am the creator. I am the one who's more generous. I'm Arhamur Rahimin. I'm the most merciful. I will be more generous. I will be more forgiving. So Imam Hadi alayhi salam in his time, he dealt with three main issues, which again still exist in our communities. Three main issues of the time of Imam Hadi alayhi salatu wassalam. The first issue, which was noticeable, was the issue of ghuluw. Ghuluw means the belief of somehow labeling the imams as something superior, like calling the imam, God forbid, Allah or Lord, or giving them the title of prophethood, nubuwwah. So Imam alayhi salam, the first thing he was doing was trying to ideologically fight with this corrupt ideology, that he would direct people, that people, you have to understand that we are not prophets of God and we're not God. We are servants of God. Don't demote them either to say, oh, they're just regular people. They are imams. They're individuals that their guidance and their presence is a source of blessing for mankind. But at the same time, don't label them, don't associate them with something that they're not, such as the position of Allah or the position of a prophet. So that was one of the struggles and the concern of the Imam, what he was dealing with at his time. Second one was, at the time of the Imam alayhi salam, there were people who believe in waqifiyya. They would stop at one imam and don't believe in the coming imam. And this was actually promoted by the caliphs as well, that that the imams died, he was the last imam, so they don't have to deal with the coming imam. So we have people who stop at Imam Sadiq, we have people who stop at Imam Kazim, we have people who stop at Imam Riza, and the waqf means stopping and not believing in the coming imam. That was another thing Imam was dealing with people who believe in the previous imams, but not on the present imam. So Imam was, showing them with his knowledge, with his eloquence, his reasoning, his virtue, that this is a wrong approach to imamah, that imamah will not stop at the phase, it will continue. And the third one that Imam was dealing with was the belief in jabr and tafweed, believing in ultimate choice in everything and kind of taking away the control of mankind fully in their own hand, no God involved in this matter. And jabr, predestination, that everything is predestined. And also this ideology is kind of being pushed always by dictators, by tyrants. Because when you say everything is predestined, you would believe that this injustice that you're dealing with is distant. You can't do anything about it. You have to suffer. You have to, listen and do whatever these tyrants and kings and monarchs are saying, because God gave him that power and God made you miserable and they're subject because it was distant. So see that how these oppressors and zalimeen of every time and era and every society, even in our time, we find it in some way and form. They would try to take advantage of this weakness, of this ideology. And they try to use that to say, okay, like, for example, we hear even people who try to justify their shortcomings, their mistakes, and say it wasn't our fault, is in God's hand, is not in our hand. No, it wasn't your hand. You're responsible for, if you would have been more, if you were following the rules and building this structure, if you were not greedy, if you were not cutting corners when you were doing this project, this wouldn't happen. But the easiest way for them is to blame on God. This was meant to happen. Our approach of Imam Hadi alayhi salam and the Ahlul Bayt is that in matters you are in charge. You have control to choose between right and wrong. You're responsible to make decisions when it comes between your self-interest and the bigger picture. And in some matters, we're not in charge. Our birthplace, our family, even being mortal and having, that we are not immortal, that these are things that we cannot control. Some form of talents that people have when it comes to intelligence, when it comes to some form of beauty, these are not things that we chose. These are meant, we were born with them. We can provide a proper environment to grow, but we cannot fundamentally change some of the things that we don't have. So Imam was dealing with these three issues, and for our time is also, we have to recognize that they are problems of our time. When we talk about ghuluw, people who exaggerate, people who give a position to Imam that Imam alayhi salam is saying is wrong. But they say, we don't care what Imam says. To me, they're God. God forbid. Ma'adallah. That is deviance. Imam Hadi is guider, is the one who guides. He's the one who leads. Hadi means the one that give us the guidance from Allah. So for you to choose your own path and contradicting what they're saying, this is changing your path, altering your direction. That's why one of the ways Imam alayhi salam was correcting these deviances, these wrong and at the same time corrupt ideologies, was through tradition and hadith. That, for example, people wrote letters to Imam asking Imam about predestination, about Jabr and Tafweed, and Imam would answer with Quran, quoting around 60 verses of Quran, that why predestination is not what Islam says. So Imam takes time to write back, to answer people, to reject this ideology, this notion. Same thing about ghuluw, right? Same thing when it comes to believing in some form of godlike position for the Imams or prophet position for the Imam. Imam would reject and at the same time would denounce such belief. That's why through even supplication and dua, Imam Hadi alayhi salam would show the right path, the proper alternative out there. So for example, one phrase in a famous dua that we have is from our 10th Imam, Imam Hadi, is one of the most authentic du'as that we have. Our maraji and our scholars would recite it as part of the routine, is Ziyarat Jami'ah Kabira. This Jami'ah Kabira, which means the great collection, the great collection that Imam alayhi salam is telling us how to verify our understanding and our belief to Allah, to the Prophet, and to the Imams, especially when it comes to Imams. That's one of the phrases of dua of Ziyarat Jami'ah Kabira is Al-Mutaqaddimu lahum zahir, Al-Mutaqaddimu lahum marin, Wal-Mutaakhir anhum zahiq. The one who's ahead of you, the one who doesn't follow you, the one that they are ahead of you in a sense of what we just referred to, ghuluv, exaggeration, saying things that Imam didn't say, believing in an Imam that again that has godlike or prophet status. This is going ahead of the Prophet, going ahead of the Imam. And we're saying such people are misguided. Imam Hadi is saying, Al-Mutaqaddimu lahum. You should follow Imam, not going advance. Wal mutaakhir anhum, the one is too behind, the one who, so Imams are, they are such good people that we cannot get there, so we don't even attempt to do good. We don't even attempt to follow their teaching. Those who are too behind. Wal mutaakhir anhum, they are zahiq. They're also wasted this great opportunity. They're wasteful. So that is one, how Imam dealt with ghulat. And that's why the Abbasi caliphs, and again, all the other tyrants, they didn't want people to be educated. Because when these ignorant people, they associate Imams with the godlike or prophet status, then there's another fraction, there's more division, there is more argument, there is more instability, and divide and conquer rule comes back. So they prefer for these beliefs to exist. They want more fraction, they want more division. So Imam would reject these ideologies, extreme ideologies of ghulat, and also would reject those who are waqif. They stop at one Imam and they don't believe in the coming Imam. Why? Because those who stop at Imam, what happens is that the living Imam will provide more contemporary guidance to the need of their time. That's why we have ijtihad. When you deduce, proper Islamic ruling from the existing source, from Quran, tradition, aql, ijma, these resources together, you deduce new answers. That's what ijtihad is about. That you get the answers that is in need of our time, without going advanced, without adding things from yourself, using what you have, try to understand what is the proper direction. And then the third one, which was Imam alayhi salam dealing with people of predestination. Imam would use Quran, and again, when you look at the traditions and the even supplication and prayer, Imam would reject this. Inna Allah la yughayyiru ma biqawmin hatta yughayyiru ma bi anfusihim. That Allah says, if you want changes in your hand, we granted you the faculties and means to acquire that. The ayah recited, Inna hadaynahu sabil, we guided you. We showed you the path. We sent prophets. We send those who mu'mineen and imams to guide you. The choice is yours. You're not destined to be good or bad. Imma shakiran wa imma kafura. You're either grateful of that guidance, you appreciate it, you implement it, wa imma kafura, or you turn away, you deny it, you ignore it. That's your call, that's your choice. Nothing is predestined. Otherwise, Imam al-Hussein would not stand against Yazid. This ideology works with the monarchs of our time. Yeah, God wanted you to be ruled over, to be dominated. This was exploited by monarchs in the Muslim faith, Christian faith, Jewish faith, every faith. That people were in power, they tried to exploit people's faith for their own cause. That you're miserable because I'm the king and you want to suffer and deal and live like this. It's not on me. It's God wanted you for this. God wanted this for you. These absurd twists to the authority of Allah, it happens when people don't have knowledge. When people don't appreciate knowledge. That's why our greatest scholars, they were doing anything to learn. So for example, it's been said that Ayatollah Mar'ashi Najafi is a great scholar that even till this day, there is a library that is left from him with a lot of valuable, original scriptures that he collected, original books that they were written literally by hand, handwritten books. So he had love for knowledge, Ayatollah Mar'ashi, lots of love. That he would do his best to buy books to a degree that he didn't have enough money to buy books. This is, again, if you're saying Imams of Ahlul Bayt are too high in their status and their virtue and their piety, this is a regular human being like us, Ayatollah Mar'ashi Najafi. And in order to buy books, as I said, sometimes he didn't have money. It's not coming from a rich family. He doesn't have, a big business to make a lot of money. So he spent a lot of time doing research, writing, translating, but he loved books. So it's been said that he would ask people who are looking to hire someone, when it comes to prayers, when it comes to missed fasting of somebody who passed away and deceased, there's a system that you can hire someone. They call ajir. You hire someone to do the fasting of a month or whatever is the number that the person who passed away, you can use from their own money if they had, some kind of irth and inheritance, to hire someone to do the fast or do the prayers, salat. And you pay some kind of compensation in exchange of that. So Ayatollah Mar'ashi Najafi would look for somebody to hire him, give him the money, so he would do their prayers, the deceased prayers, or fasting, and use that money to buy books. This is the amount of interest and enthusiasm and love they had to learning, to books. So Imam Hadi alayhi salam educating people on the matters. And education free us from superstitions. Don't call everything we don't understand superstition either. Or for example, when it comes to azadari and celebration, these are superstition. Superstitions are matter that they don't have any roots in the teaching of Allah, teaching of the Prophet and his family. And people just do it without any logical reason behind it. So Imam is dealing with that. How he's dealing? First of all, he's educating. He has great student. Shaykh al-Tusi almost named 180 different students of Imam Hadi alayhi salam. The Imam educated them and they become a source of knowledge for others. You would debate with people, he provide answers when necessary, although he is being under constant surveillance. People's access to him is extremely difficult. It's very limited. But Imam still use supplication, prayers, including the one I mentioned, Ziyarat Jami Kabira, which please Don't take it lightly. Ayatollah Bahjat would recite it every day. Sheikh Azam Ansari. Sheikh Azam Ansari is someone who authored a book in jurisprudence that even right now, more than 100 years, more than a century ago, he authored this book. But even till this day, when it comes to scholars studying religion and jurisprudence, doesn't matter Najaf or Qom or anywhere, they study the book that he authored. Ayatollah, the greatest scholar, they call him. At his time, he was the most knowledgeable of his time, and every other scholar would testify that he is the most knowledgeable. Sheikh A'zam Ansari, the great Sheikh Ansari. This is a part of his routine of every day was he started his day with reciting one juz of Quran, reciting Ziyarat Jami Kabira, and reciting Ziyarat Ashura. You may say, yeah, he had a lot of time, I don't have that much time, but based on our schedule, we have to adapt. And I promise you, when you say one juz of Quran or Ziyarat Ashura and all them, they don't take that long. So if I can't do it all every day, but once a week, part of the Ziyarat, divide Ziyarat Jami Kabira to 7 sections and do it one part every day. Read the meaning of it, connect. Because the Ziyarat Jami Kabira, the beauty of that is that it's not just for one Imam, it's connected, it's about the Ahlul Bayt. It's from the Prophet all the way to the Imam of our time. So Imam would educate people through supplication and dua, training his students. So let me inshallah conclude the lecture with a tradition from our 10th Imam alayhi salam, to see that Imam's focus is to teach us how to be better people, better mu'mins. You know, we have somebody came all the way from Kufa to Samira. So those who actually went to Ziyarat, Imam Hadi, Imam Ali al-Naqi al-Hadi is buried by the side of his son, Imam Hassan al-Askari. They are buried in Samira, both of them. So we have at the time of his life, somebody from Kufa traveled. At that time, no car, it took a considerable amount of time on his journey from Kufa to Samira. And once he got there, he said, I came here because I didn't want to ask anyone beside you, because I know you're not going to humiliate me. I know your character. I know your generosity. I'm in debt. I have this much debt and I need your help. And Imam alayhi salam looked at him and said, you did the right thing, but unfortunately I don't have any money. Imagine Imam is living under constant surveillance, no access to any resources. So Imam alayhi salam said, let me do something. I'm going to write something for you. And in the writing, Imam wrote that from now on, I owe this person. So Imam alayhi salam wrote his name, that I owe you this amount. So for example, he said, I'm in debt. I owe someone 30,000 dinar. So Imam wrote down, from now on, Ali al-Naqi al-Hadi is owing this person 30,000. He said, but Yabna Rasulullah, you don't owe me anything. Imam said, no, I want you to know that I want to help you. From now on, your debt is mine. I owe you that amount. So you may say, what was the point of that? How that would help? So Imam gave him that paper, said, this is a proof. Come, and we have a gathering with the rest of the mu'mineen, with the rest of the companions, and come to the gathering and say and address me and said, give me my money, you owe me, Ali al-Naqi, al-Hadi, you owe me 30,000, give me my money. And he said, I will not do that. How can I embarrass you like that? How can I disrespect you like that? Imam said, I'm asking you to do it. I want your problem to be solved. And why Imam is doing it? Because he doesn't have it, but he knows that the companions have that respect. And because of his respect, they would help him. So he's not using his reputation for his own sake. He's using his reputation to help someone else in need. So this person listened to the Imam. He came to the gathering and he said it, and someone stood up and said, I will take care of it. I will give your money and take care of this debt for the Imam. This is the extent Imam will go to help someone. It's a corona time, it's a pandemic time. People maybe they have problems. If you can do something about it, do something. Do something about it. Even if it means that you go out of your way to help them. How many traditions we can read about that, right? That how the traditions of Ahlul Bayt talks about helping others. So for example, we see in the hadith of Imam Ali al-Naqi alayhi salam, Imam said, this is a hadith, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. The hadith said, من تواضع في الدنيا لإخوانه فهو عند الله من الصديقين. The one who's humble before his brothers, before his friends, he treats them with humbleness and humility. This person will be considered from the Siddiqeen, the most truthful before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the day of judgment. This is what we see in the ahadith of Ahlul Bayt, how important it is to reach out to help other people, to go out of your way to solve people's problem. So another hadith we can see is from the Ma'asumin alayhi salam, and inshallah I conclude the lecture with that. Imam alayhi salam said, Man farraja an mu'minin, farrajallah an qalbi yawm al-qiyamah. If you make a mu'min, someone in need, you resolve their issue and make them happy, Allah will make you and resolve your issue in the day of judgment. Right? How many traditions we see like this, that ahadith over and over are about helping other people in need. Don't say it's not my problem. Don't go to the history of, oh, they failed or they didn't work hard. That's too late. To point fingers and to try to investigate why they're where they are is not going to solve the problem. This is again a hadith from Imam Hussein alayhi salam. Imam said, "I'lamu anna hawa'ij an-nas ilaykum min ni'amillah alaykum." You have to learn this, know this, that indeed people's need toward you is a blessing from God. If people need you for something, whatever it is, financial help, they need your networking, your connection, your expertise, your knowledge, your experience. If people need you, that is a ni'mah, that is a blessing from Allah. فَلَا تَمَلُّ النَّعَمْ فَتُحَوَّلُ إِلَىٰ غَيْرِكُمْ. So don't get tired from these blessings. Don't reject them. Don't take them lightly, this blessing that people need you and reach out to you. Otherwise, فَتُحَوَّلُ إِلَىٰ غَيْرِكُمْ, Allah will transfer it from you to someone else. Allah will take it, that blessing from you, and give it to someone else. May Allah inshallah grant us a tawfiq of being a source of khair, a source of good support, kindness, generosity, help for anyone that we can offer help. So in summary, what we talked about tonight, we talked about a bit about the life of Imam Ali al-Naqi alayhi salam, the type of people, the type of tyrants he dealt with, and how those tyrants exploited three weaknesses, and they tried to promote these deviances from predestination to waqifiyah, to stop at the Imam and not continue this vibrant system of guidance of Imamat. And also when it came ultimately to exploiting people's belief and exaggerating in the status of the Imam and somehow preceding Imam on guidance. So these were the three main issues of the life of the Imam's time, and Imams dealt with that. His counter argument to those was Quran, and educating his students and teaching people through ziyarah and supplication, that how can people benefit from that. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us a tawfiq of learning from the life of Ma'asumin alayhi salam and be grateful for this great legacy that they sacrificed a lot. They invested a lot of their life and their livelihood for the sake of this guidance to be transferred, to go on. And this day we have access to them. We have ability to benefit from them. So especially Ziyarat al-Jami' Kabira, if you can do it at one sitting, divide it to multiple pieces and make it inshallah part of our routine to be more familiar with this great lesson on the structure of our belief and aqidah, inshallah. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Once again, congratulations on these happy occasions. Let's see if you have any questions. You could have posted your question on a Slido. Let me see if you have any for tonight. So I'm looking, it take me a few seconds, inshallah, I'll try to, yes, so they're asking if an aqiq, which is, a type of stone on a ring, so if an aqiq breaks, should we get it repaired or do we have to get a new one? No, the word should, it means it's like a requirement. No, it's not required to fix it. And the second one is also you use the word have to. Aqiq is mustahab. Wearing aqiq, it's recommended. So there's no must in it. There's not a requirement. But if you want, inshallah, to follow the tradition and the sunnah of the Prophet and his family, is recommended to wear an aqiq on your right hand. So I would say is not required. You don't have to repair it and you don't have to get a new one. But if it's broken and I don't know how you're going to fix it using some glue or something, and it would not, again, I don't know how you will fix it, but getting a new one would be fine. And that is, I think, the only question I have. Yep. So inshallah, if you have any other question, we'll have it next week. As you know, next week, inshallah, we are approaching birthday of Imam Ali alayhi salam, Commander of Faithful. Please do me a favor. If you have any poetry, if you have, you and your family wants to share how you are celebrating these great, occasions, please share it with us. You can send it to us, send it to Masjid Rasul and Masjid Nabi, and we will share it with the rest of our community during the time of pandemic. And as we we don't have access to a lot of presenters. So I want, inshallah, to see your presence and our community participating, collaborating in our programs. So if you're interested, short, not long videos, short videos of a poetry or a short article that could be youngsters, elders, doesn't matter. Please, right now, especially about Imam Ali alayhi salam, because we have almost 2 weeks before the birthday of Imam Ali. So if you want about Imam Ali, articles, poetry, just, maybe celebration, that how you prepare celebration in your house for this occasion or the month of Rajab in general, please share it with us. You can use info@hijrat or you can share it with Masjid Rasul at admin@masjidrasul.com or masjid.rasul@gmail. You can send your videos and other form of again, I would say videos is the only one because audio would be difficult to use it for our program. So send your videos, inshallah, through email, and we will incorporate them and use them in our program, inshallah. Happy month of Rajab, happy Waladat of Imam Muhammad al-Baqir and Imam Ali al-Naqi al-Hadi alayhi salam. Keep us in your du'as. May Allah hasten in return of Imam of our time. May Allah grant us forgiveness for all of our shortcomings, sins, mistakes, and flaws. May Allah grant us tawfiq of servitude and enjoying and energy in our devotion. May Allah protect us from our own ego and our own desires, lowly desires, and protect us from the temptations of shaitan. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant those who are ill, physically, mentally, with quick shifa and recovery, and grant them patience and endurance during difficult time. May Allah bless the soul of all of our marhumeen. Please recite Surah Fatiha with the salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
هنگامه شادی شده لطف خدا دادی شده شهر مدینه غرق نور از طلعت هادی شده پر از شادی زمین و آسمانه گل زهرا به دامان سمانه مادر امام هادی بریزید گل به پایش که جد اطهر صاحب زمانه که جد اطهر صاحب زمانه هنگامه شادی شده لطف خدا دادی شده شهر مدینه غرق نور طلعت حالی شد هنگامه لطف خدا دادی شده شهر مدینه غرق نور طلعت حالی از شادی زمین و آسمانه گل زهرا به دامان سمانه بریزید گل به پایش که جد اطهر صاحب زمانه علی چهارمه آل عبا آمده است علی چهارمه آل عبا آمده است پسر گل پسر امام رضا آمده است پسر گل پسر به تجلی دهمی شمع هدا آمده است به خدا آینه جود و سخا آمده است به خدا آینه جود و سخا زهرا نسب حیدر سرش جهبار اشرش که بهش زهرا نسب حیدر سرش بار اشرش بهش خدا مرا در لوح عشق سرگشته هادی نوشت خدا مرا در لوح عشق سرگشته به ذکر آیه های من یکادم گدای خنده باب المرادم گواهی میدهد هر قطر خونم که مجنون علی ابن الجوادم که مجنون علی ابن الجوادم که مجنون علی ابن الجوادم.
My God, this tribulation has become agonizing.
إلهي أعظم البلاء وبرح الخفاء
It's now out in the open.
وانكشف الغطاء
The veil has been lifted.
وانقطع الرجاء
All hope has been lost.
وضاقت
Everyone is at a loss.
ومنعت السماء
The heaven has been blocked.
وأنت المستعان
You are the one from whom help is sought.
وإليك وإليك المشتكى
You are the one to whom grievances are brought.
وعليك المعول في الشدة
You are the one who is relied upon in times of both severity and prosperity.
اللهم صل
O God, bless Muhammad and members of his family who are the rightful leaders. You have made it obligatory for us to obey them, and through this obedience you have made their true status known to us.
ففرج عنا
So please give us relief for their sake, a swift and prompt relief within the blink of an eye, or even quicker than that.
يا محمد
O Muhammad, O Ali,
يا علي
O Ali, O Muhammad, protect me as you two are truly capable of doing so. Help me as you two are truly capable of helping me.
يا مولانا
O our Master,
يا صاحب الزمان
the Lord of the age, help me, help me, help me.
أدركني
Take hold of me,
أدركني
take hold of me,
أدركني
take hold of me.
الساعة
At this moment,
الساعة
at this moment,
الساعة
at this moment.
العجب
Hurry,
العجب
hurry,
العجب
hurry.
يا
O God, the most merciful of all who show mercy,
بحق محمد
have mercy on me for the sake of Muhammad and the pure members of his family.
هنگامه شادی شده لطف خدا دادی شده شهر مدینه غرق نور از طلعت هادی شده پر از شادی زمین و آسمانه گل زهرا به دامان سمانه مادر امام هادی گل زهرا به دامان سمانه بریزید گل بریزید گل به پایش که جد اطهر صاحب زمانه که جد اطهر صاحب زمانه هنگامه شادی شده لطف خدا دادی شده شهر مدینه غرق نور طلعت هادی شده هنگامه لطف خدا دادی شده شهر مدینه غرق نور طلعت هادی از شادی زمین و آسمانه گل زهرا به دامان سمانه بریزید گل بریزید گل به پایش که جد اطهر صاحب زمانه که جد اطهر یه بار دیگه هنگامه شادی شده لطف خدا دادی شده شهر مدینه غرق نور شادی زمین و آسمانه گل زهرا به دامان سمانه بریزید گل بریزید گل به پایم که جده اطهره که جده اطهره علی چهارمه آل عبا آمده است علی چهارمه آل عبا آمده است پسر گل پسر امام رضا آمده است پسر گل پسر به تجلی دهمی شمع هدا آمده است به خدا آینه جود و سخا آمده است به خدا جود و سخا از گامه شادی شده به خدا شهر مدینه غرق نور از طلعت هادی شده یه بار دیگه هنگامه ماشاءالله لطف خدا دادی آخرت پر از شادی زمین و پر از شادی زمین و آسمان گل زهرا به دامانه بریزید گل بریزید گل بریزید گل به پایش که جده اطهره